Welcome to the Yo11 Podcast. Yo11 Podcast, mostly Vegas, no BS, casino experience, and more. Michal Trager is a casino and travel loyalty expert who also helps people turn their travel dreams into travel realities. And now your host, Michal Trager. How's it going, Michael?
It's going very well. How are you doing?
I'm all right, considering everything. I would say I want to say fantastical, but I'm going to say all rightical. I'm all rightical. It's not quite
You're all
fantastic.
rightical.
I'm all rightical.
The word of the day is all right to call. So
All
I'm sort
rightical.
of all right.
Yep.
It's the testicle form of all right.
I am testicularly all right.
Are you just yes. Oh, that's
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
I think it is such a interesting. It is really hard, People ask how you're doing, and it's always, people have a lot of things on their mind, and I know you just did an incredible job with the final 360 Vegas podcast, and I know that was, not only listening, being there for the live stream, but also putting together the final podcast to drop had to be relatively emotional or very emotional.
Oh dude, it was horribly emotional. I mean I did everything, the usual what would Mark do, and you put his intro where it goes, the news and everything, all that. But the ending was just boy, I just bumped my table. The ending just completely ripped me up, and it was so sad because Tony's doing the final closing out, where, visit us here and blah blah blah, and he's just choking back tears, and you hear it, and at the same time, oh, and Karen's also getting choked up at the end, and the protocol for his show calls for his usual outro music, and it was so upbeat compared to all the seriousness that and the sadness that was going on. And I was there just like I was saying to myself, what would Mark do? Well, Mark wouldn't be in the position of having to edit this particular shoe where people are sad and mourning him. Um, so I remember I was just like, that's when it finally like really hit me, and I couldn't be in production mode anymore, and I basically was just crying, and I and I basically got in touch with Josh from the 360 Vegas podcast. I was like, hey man, I have an idea because this outro is too upbeat. I'm gonna have you listen to it, but it just doesn't work here. I think we should go with Claire de Lune. And we wouldn't. First, we tried Ocean's 13, but it was too synthy, and because we were trying to keep it to Ocean's 13 because everything that Mark did on that podcast, music wise, was Ocean 13. Um, but it was too synthy. Like that song has its place, but it wasn't there. So then we went with the original from Ocean's 11, and it just worked out perfectly the way they were. It fit the mood, and it worked out. And yeah, so everything is up and down. Done that last episode. I think it's 358. Yeah, and it went up on Monday.
Wow. No, it's hard. And there were a lot of, the live stream was very good with regard to, a lot of interesting questions and interesting insight. And it is so hard. People were curious about a lot of things and answered, a lot of questions were answered, about the future of the podcast and all of that. And it's just, it's just so difficult, and so many, touching comments about people saying, oh, you need to continue the podcast. But I totally respect so much what everybody said, that no, this was Mark's podcast. This was his creation. And I think ending it this way was really the right way to do it. And it's, but I know it's so tough for people. And I think it's, when I think about it a little bit, I realize it's something you don't usually have to deal with when a podcast ends, right? I
Right.
mean, this isn't like, it's really tough, it's really tough. And also when a podcast has been around for that many years and is such a part of people's lives, it's something that you're used to all the time, and it is so personal. It just really, really difficult. Well, thank you for handling all the tech on that so well, though. I mean, I'm sure you're slightly relieved that that's over. Like you never want to do that again, because That's not an easy thing.
Yeah, no, that was difficult, and not the editing part. That was simple. But like it's just the emotions with that. Like it was difficult. But we do have another thing coming up that you and I are involved in. Details to follow later, and that's Mark's celebration of life out here in Las Vegas. It's going to be happening in October.
Yes,
Yeah,
October
and
18th.
18. Yep.
So
So that's the
that's
next thing.
wonderful too. Yeah, that will be really amazing, and it's going to be an amazing come together of people. I shouldn't use the word amazing. What words can you use when you want to be like depressing but also upbeat, right? I mean,
Well,
it's
Mark doesn't want it to be depressing, right? He doesn't want people
right.
wearing suits and being sad and miserable. So it's going to be a camaraderie of of it's going to be a get together of camaraderie and honor and celebration and hopefully laughs and some Woodford's Reserve maybe or Angel's Envy. If it's still
And a couple of
some
cocktails, a
cocktails. Yeah,
couple of two things, couple of three, couple of four,
for
5, 8, 12. Oh, I don't,
absolutely.
I just don't drink as much as I used to. It just doesn't hit me. I don't know why. I mean, I enjoy it. I'm not sure. I'm mostly because I think maybe I'm a little bit like fitness crazed right now. But I don't even think that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'll have to think about that a little bit more.
I can convert you into being Italian and tell you to drink wine for your health.
That's true. And I like wine with dinner, but I don't always like to have to open wine for dinner. It's a good point though. It is healthy. I mean, wine is healthy, especially red wine.
There you go. Absolutely.
That's so we'll have to see. So, what is today's
Oh
news?
yeah, Tesla finally decided to try automation like they promised 4 years ago. Let's get to the news. Elon Musk's Boring Company is putting Tesla's full self-driving system to the test here in Las Vegas. The tunnels beneath the convention center, which connect to nearby hotels, have been running Teslas with safety drivers on board for several months now. Officials say it'll be some time before the tech is ready for widespread use. While Tesla has launched small-scale robotaxi services in Austin and San Francisco, the Vegas tunnels still need human intervention from time to time. The biggest challenge is underground, navigating passenger pickups and drop-offs, and even coping with the tunnel's colorful lighting and rock walls. And that's going to do it for the news. And now for the views. Michael, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, the thing that always gets me is the safety drivers still have to periodically intervene and take control of the vehicles.
Right.
The humans will take control sometimes.
Yeah,
in extraordinary circumstances.
And what's causing the problems for it basically is its own tunnel because of the lighting and where the passenger pickup and drop offs are. So, yeah, I think what happened was they saw Zooks out here just zooming around and were like, oh, yeah, we got to do that autonomous thing we talked about some years back. Right. Because Zooks is already doing it, just not in the Tesla tunnels. But yeah, I plan on taking a Zooks. I just need to be in a good state of mind to get in a Zooks thing outside Resorts World and let it take me wherever it's taking me. And I mean, there is no driver whatsoever. It just might take me some getting used to. I don't know, man.
You know what? That's one of those I think it's like a conceptual control thing, because if you think about it, a lot of people are not really good drivers and probably aren't the safest drivers or aren't the best or most alert or whatever. So removing the human factor from driving probably in a lot of ways makes it safer, but it's a control thing. It's the same thing like control, like the logic behind people who are afraid to fly or don't like to fly. And one of the main reasons is, but they like to drive. The reason is they don't have control. They're not flying the plane. It's a control kind of thing. I mean, not a great example because the plane's still being flown by pilots, but I still think it's one of those kind of control situations. Wouldn't you think? Is that like what would bother you about it, right? I mean, because if you think of it logically, it really shouldn't be more dangerous than humans because humans do kind of crazy things when they drive.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't tell
Yeah.
an autonomous vehicle, "Hey, look out," right? Because there's no one to say it to. So it's just gonna do its own thing, and just you're just going along for the ride. Where at least if I was like with a like Uber driver, they're like, "Oh, hey, look out! You got that?" No, they're like nodding off, which I've never seen happen. I've taken Uber a lot out here. No one's ever nodded off or anything, but at least the person is there as "Oh, hey, look out!" On your left, or something. With an autonomous driver, there's there's no one to say, "Hey, look out!" to. Like it's just like,
Yeah, but do you have to? It's got all the cameras and the computers. It's looking out.
did you
I mean,
see
if you wanted to,
that one
if you want to
video?
trust the technology.
Yeah. Did you see that one video online where a driver was in an autonomous vehicle, and for some reason it just went into this hard right turn into a dividing wall on the highway, and it wouldn't stop or anything. He had no physical control over anything at all. Another driver just on the other side of that divider sees him because it's scraping and scraping and scraping, and he turns the camera and looks at the driver. The driver is at this point praying like this because he can't do anything else. And when that wall ended, it went into oncoming traffic. Everyone survived, but still pretty horrific. Um, it's stuff like that, you know. There's no there's it's just completely out of your hands, completely, and with autonomy. So it's a little, but maybe I'm just old school. I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a shot. I'll see what happens.
Well, I think it's legitimate, and I think you also run into a situation where you're dealing with like zero failure, right? You need like zero failure because it's not, like statistically nobody wants to hear like, well, it only screws up and has an accident once every 3,000 rides. That's pretty good, or once every 5,000 rides. So not if you're on the ride number 5,000. That kind of thing is just, what, how do you measure this kind of thing? But then again, I guess logically you talk about like take someone who like Movestra is a really good driver, but he screws up once every X number of rides probably. Now maybe it's not catastrophic, but yeah, it's very interesting. It's going to be an interesting thing to see where that goes with the technology. And it's not, I mean, I guess the thing that's also sort of hard is like in a lot of these rideshare services, it's not like they're overpaying the drivers, and the drivers actually rely on tips. So I mean, I guess, do you tip the autonomous riding machine? That would be sort of weird. That would be like giving the company extra money, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it removes, so in theory, not only does it lower the cost for the company doing it because they don't have to pay anything to the drivers. Maybe it increases the technology cost, but it lowers the cost for riders potentially if the rides are the same amount because you don't have to tip, going under the assumption that you do tip or the majority of people tip. So it's a lot of interesting things going on there. I'm not sure. I'm not I just don't I'm not sure about my opinion on it because I'm a little bit of a paranoid person sometimes. But I also have a very trusting I really do trust technology. And I guess, your whole example of like the watch out, that's can't you just see you scream at it like watch out, and then it's like it looks it up in Google and it's like watch out means this and this is the definition of watch out. That's you know how that is sometimes with like you're like hey Google, like, and you're trying to tell it to set a timer but instead it misunderstands one of the words and it
Yeah.
and it brings up a definition of something, right?
Yep.
So the only thing that gets me with Vegas and all of this is I'm not sure how efficient that tunnel thing is because it doesn't carry that many passengers in each vehicle, right? So that always gets me. And I always think that Vegas had one thing that needed to be solved. And it's like they got 60% of the way there or 70% of the way there. And it's actually one of your most popular videos, a video that you did for Travel Zork on YouTube, which is about the monorail. And I always thought the monorail was a brilliant idea. I thought it was a great idea, with the exception of one thing. Why the hell didn't it go to the airport? That was, well, we know why, right? Because of the taxi authority and all of that kind of thing and fighting it.
Yeah.
But, to me, the strip is so close to the airport. And think about like running monorail tracks or whatever. It would have been so like there was no like they don't have to bore holes or anything, right? I mean, to do it. And why they never considered to go back and running the monorail from the airport. Think how awesome it would be at the airport to be able to hop into a multi-car monorail. A bunch of people can hop in at the airport and it whisks them over to the strip moments later. Think how amazing it is, keeping cars off the road, congestion, efficiency, and yet that never happened. And it annoys me, and I think it's ridiculous. I don't know what your opinion is on that, or if that bothers you as much as me. Maybe it shouldn't bother me so much. It just seemed like such a letdown with this idea of building the monorail and public transportation and everything, and I just don't understand why that's never been revisited.
Oh yeah, no, man, I totally agree with you. It would have been great to have the monorail go from the airport. A lot of places have monorails at the airport, which will take you, at least to a baggage terminal or something before you have to take a cab. But I mean, just going straight to like MGM, connecting with the rest of the monorail, that would have been a great idea. But yeah, you know how it is, unions and all that stuff, the taxi authority, and it didn't happen. The
Yeah,
monorail has
no,
a
I think it is.
Yeah, the monorail has a problem now because the train, you can't get new ones of those train cars. They're made for that specific track, and they had gotten all of that from I believe it was Disney World at one point. And so when that comes to an end, they had to find a way to replace the monorail. And the rumor is LVCVA wants to do something with Elon Musk, where they're going to pave over the track or something, and then like Musk is gonna have some of his Teslas or something. Something is gonna be there to replace the monorail eventually. But yeah, so the monorail is actually kind of on its way out.
Well, then the monorail was never that successful because it never went to the airport.
Right.
And then when people say, "Oh, we should expand it to the airport," they go, "But look, it's not that popular now." Well, of course it's not popular because it's not going to the airport. I just don't. It's just such a silly thing. I don't. It doesn't even come up very often anymore. But
Yeah.
it's one of those. It's just one of those things that really that I just thought was such a missed opportunity with the monorail. How they couldn't have done it, or at least had a time plan for it. Like, okay, we'll let the taxi commission and everybody sort of stabilize. Because remember also when the monorail came in, there was no Uber. So the taxi, think of the power that the taxis
Yep.
had. Like they lost a lot of power. But if you think about it, I never, because we don't think about this that often. When the monorail was first started, you really just had the taxis and of course the bus. But I mean, or walking from the airport. I think we've talked about that before.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, very, 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 very odd. But what can I say? I don't make the rules.
All right. And with that, let's get to the teas.
Okay. Well, this is all based on a common thought that comes up, which I'm sure we've discussed before. You can remind me if we have. And it's, the crass way to say it is don't touch that casino free play. This ain't fucking travel loyalty. It's casino loyalty. Do you know where I'm going, Movestro?
Well, yeah, because I had to look at the show notes, but no one else did, so I'll play along. No idea, Michael. Where are you going with this? My word.
No, so what are the main differences between travel loyalty and casino loyalty is anything that you're given in travel loyalty, you usually just if you can use it, you might as well just use it because it has no impact on your status or your rating or anything that's going to change things. But with casino loyalty, that's a little bit different because everything with casino loyalty is based on your theoretical. That is the most important thing. Your average daily theoretical, your THEO. What it stands for is your theoretical loss, which is a figure that the casino assumes is making an assumption that you will theoretically lose on your trip based on the amount of gambling that you've done in the past. And you need to protect this THEO. Well, earlier this week, or this week is 10 times tier point multiplier at Caesars, and a friend asked me to join him at Harris Pompano because he wanted to feel comfortable playing video poker to get 10 times tier points to get diamond status. And I was happy to oblige because I also got a nice lunch there. I was thrilled. Movestro, do you remember, like coffee shop diner food, and they used to have like the fried chicken basket?
Yeah.
Does that terminology ring a bell? Like they always had like the fried, I think like Howard Johnson's had them too. Like it was like a basket. It was a fried chicken basket, and it was fried chicken and on the bone and coleslaw and French fries. And I was just so thrilled because at Harris Pompano in Pompano, Florida, which is near Fort Lauderdale, they have a fried chicken basket, like the old fashioned kind of fried chicken basket with coleslaw and French fries. And it
Wow.
was absolutely fantastical. The chicken was great. I should show you a picture of it. I wish I had a picture to put up. It was so amazing. I couldn't even eat it all. It was great, but I was thrilled to have it. They also had matzo ball soup on the menu. It was sort of like a deli, but I just miss that like basket, serving you fried chicken in this basket with fries and coleslaw. Oh, it was just so good. It was really good. I'm
Nice.
sorry. I'm just so when I went to do that with my friend, he wound up getting a cashback offer, which is a free play, comeback offer, which is quite common right after you play. But Hollywood does that a lot too. So after you've played, they give you an offer that you have to use within 2 weeks to come and use that free play. And one of the things that people bring up quite often is, should I use all of these offers even if I'm not going to play? And the resounding answer is no, you probably shouldn't, depending on what your big picture is, because your main offers and all of your casino offers are going to be based on your theoretical and your last play. But every time you do, like you pop in to redeem $50 in free play or $100 in free play, and you're not going to be gambling at a level similar to what you're gambling before, what is that going to do to your theoretical? Your theoretical is going to plunge. And obviously it makes sense, right? Because you did $15,000 in coin in at video poker, and they decided to give you $60 in free play, and you come and just play that $60 in free play and then cash it out, or slightly more than that. You went from doing $15,000 in coin in, which generated a certain amount of THEO, to now $60 in coin in. So when you average those together, it's not going to be pretty with regard to what your theoretical is. So you need to decide, is it actually worth redeeming some of those small amounts of extra money? And in many cases, it isn't worth it. You should redeem offers and free play when you are going to have a regular trip or when you're going to play similar to your level, because you want to get the really good offers like the room offers and show offers and things like that, which are based on higher theoretical. You want to be able to get those offers. And if you're theoretical, if you keep doing this and not playing heavy, you're going to keep cutting your theoretical until your theoretical's to a point where you might not even get the comp rooms that you used to get. So you really have to think about that stuff. As a parallel to that, people then say things like, well, if I claim the free gift, if I go to the lounge, does that count as a trip? Does that count against my theoretical? That stuff is a lot dicier because it's not as clear cut how casinos penalize you for that kind of thing. So that I would say don't do it, because it's not worth the risk. But the reason why the casino free play is so apparent is because it basically is is relational because you're talking about how much coin in you did or how much action you gave the casino. And now you're starting a new session and giving action. In the other examples, like visiting a lounge or claiming a prize, you're not giving any action, so it's a zero. And I've often said, and I could be totally wrong about this, but I'll stand by it because I still think it's, theoretically possible at a lot of places, that no action is better than very little action. But that's just my thought. But the systems have gotten more sophisticated, so I would say in many cases, don't touch that casino free play unless it really makes sense to do it. And then further to that, does it make sense to travel to the casino just to redeem a small amount of free play to travel home? I mean, unless you live 5 minutes away, it's a lot of effort and a lot of trouble. Now, compared to travel loyalty, if you did something and you were given an extra $50 coupon to book a trip or something like that, of course you should use everything that you've been given, because it's not going, if you don't use it, you will lose it. And that's fine. But with the situation here, it's not use it or you will lose it. The problem is use it, and potentially you will lose on your future offers. So that is definitely something you should keep in mind. Do you have an opinion about that, Movestro?
No, I do not. I think you're, as always, 100% spot on when it comes to the stuff that you know way more about than I do.
Yeah, I know, but you sometimes hear about people saying like, "Oh, I'm going to use I want to use this free play. I want to use all of this." And sometimes they just do it because they're like, I got these offers and I got this free play and I'm in Vegas anyway, and I have this other free play offer at this casino and I never want to stay there again, or I never want to be there again, or it's not worth it for me. So they just want to use the offer and they don't really care what happens to their THEO. I would just argue there that sometimes you don't really know what's going to happen in the future. So still protect your THEO. Sort of a situation like, say, Win offers, and I think this is a topic I have. Yes, a topic I have at the end. Win's offers have been much lower, so now I'm staying somewhere else, but I still have $100 free play from Win. Maybe I should go over there and quote burn them for this free play. And my answer to that would be, okay, so you're going to do that and you're going to use that free play, but maybe things will change next year. Maybe Win will start to become more generous to players of exactly your profile. So now you've burned them for the free play and you've hurt your theoretical. And next year when they decide to be more generous, well, they're not going to be more generous to you because now it's going to be based on a lower theoretical. So I think there are a lot of ways. I guess the best advice is just think about it. Think about your worst case scenario. Think about, if I'm redeeming this small amount of free play, I'm going to redeem this small amount of free play, and this might impact things in the future. Do I care about it? Is it worth it? And that's a great way to look at it. Now, on the other end of it, if it's a place you used to play at a lot and they've given you $1,000 in free play and you hate it there and never want to go there again, well, that's a different kind of argument because you're talking about $1,000 in free play, not $60 in free play. So there are multiple variables going on here. But I always tell people, please just think about it. Think about your worst case scenario. Think about that kind of thing because it's sort of important. And that's what I got for you on that topic. And before I get to a little bit more of the casino kind of stuff, I was going to talk a little bit about what I will be doing in, I think, 2 weeks from now. Is that 2 weeks from now at Loyalty Summit? And Loyalty Summit is it's a business to business thing where people talk about, loyalty leaders come and people just talk about the loyalty industry in general. This is mostly focused on travel loyalty, but this is one of the first times that we've roped in a little bit of the casino loyalty stuff. And I am really excited that I was invited to be on a panel. And the panel is a really interesting topic, and I will read you what that is. And that's a panel: building emotional connections, recognition, benefits, and VIP experiences. Loyalty is more than just points. It's about making customers feel valued, recognized, and appreciated. This session explores how airlines and hotels can craft VIP experiences that deepen emotional engagement and encourage lasting brand affinity. Learn how tiered benefits, personalized recognition, and exclusive rewards transform passive loyalty into active, enthusiastic brand advocacy. Industry experts will share real world examples of programs and brands that successfully create meaningful moments that resonate with travelers. It's chaired by David Feldman, who is amazing. And I'm going to be a guest, as well as Anil, who is the vice president of loyalty and marketing at MGM Resorts International. Basically, one of the people or main people responsible for, MGM rewards. So this is going to be a very interesting conversation. And I'm really into this whole building emotional experiences and recognition. And we're going to talk about some of that, because there is a very there's a little bit of an emotional part on that kind of thing. And there's also a lot of things that loyalty programs do for members that don't necessarily cost a lot of money, but make them feel really good. And I don't know, we've discussed this before, Movestro, once or twice, I think, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, once or
how
twice.
and with casino loyalty, Bill Hara, at Harrah's was one of the masters of basically comps, of casino loyalty. And Harrah's Total Rewards started a lot of the things that we take for granted now. Things like the diamond lines and the diamond taxi lines and things like that, which didn't really cost them much money to do, but the optics were incredible, as far as giving recognition to customers and what keeps customers loyal. So you think about things that keep you loyal is the benefits that you get from your status, right? So in a casino loyalty program, the benefits you get from casino marketing offers, the benefits you get from your host, the benefits you get from the points that you earn, the benefits you get from online offers. And then you have other things like benefits of like special lines based on your status and things like that. And in travel loyalty, you have those situations too. Uh, Boarding airplanes, is a really, really big one, and differentiating between different groups of people. That's something that's talked about a lot, and is actually an interesting subject, how airlines have tweaked and retweaked that, and the pros and cons of those kind of things. And also some of the VIP services, just as far as service and support. Airlines do a lot of that, hotels do a lot of that. It's very, very interesting. So that's some of the stuff that we will be talking about, and we'll be giving a lot of examples. So that will be happening at Loyalty Summit, and I just thought I'd talk a little bit about that. I actually would ask you. You're the perfect person to ask this to, Malvestro, since you're a non-status now. But I believe that you had Caesar's Diamond status at one point. Am I correct about that?
Nope. No, you are not.
Caesar's something status at some point.
I had Caesar something status. Yeah, yeah, I had that. It was not diamond. Never had diamond. I got invited to a Laurel Lounge at Paris once by Mr. Eric Rosenthal. That's no longer there. But
It's Vanderpump now.
it's
But
Vanderpump
wasn't
now.
there a
Yeah.
status or something once that? Oh, let me put it this way: is there anything from status that you miss that you would want to have because of status with the casino?
I think at the time, looking back, I should have done the founder's card at the time back then, because it's not the same now, as I understand it. Because that would have given me like some more perks and stuff, and maybe a better room selection. But that's about it, really. Not so much about, well, maybe some free play, maybe, I don't know. But like, I like nice rooms now. That's the thing I'm into now. So Back
But how about
then, I
things
was just
like
like,
diamond? How about lines at the cage, like the taxi line,
oh
priority
yeah.
parking, or stuff like that? Like, does that, like, would those be benefit? You see, this is a whole emotional connection. So if we get you somewhere in some program to a status level,
Hmm.
what we need to do with the program is give you some benefits. Some benefits are maybe hard benefits and soft benefits, benefits that are very, like, a suite upgrade is like something, like maybe if you got a guaranteed suite upgrade X number of times a year. And then other benefits like a special line, a priority line. We need to give you benefits where you get connected to that and it impacts you enough that you don't want to lose that status. It's like too important to you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, like it has to, like,
Yeah.
you work for it, right? Like, do you have, there are a lot of things in your, in hobbies or in other things where it's so important. uh it's just so important for people. They're like, this status, provides me things that make me happy, make my life easier, perks I really love. So I'm going to still work at keeping that status. And that's really interesting, right? Because your program is wildly successful when you can do that, when you can create that emotional connection, where Movestro's like, no, I don't want to give up the status, so I'm going to do whatever I can do to keep the status.
For me, it would be, you know what, waived resort fees, the chance to upgrade to nicer rooms at a discounted cost, and maybe a dining credit. I'd be happy with that.
No, that's good. And the resort fees is another good example. What's interesting? People mention this a lot about Caesars. So Caesars, pretty much so. I think for new card holders, they sometimes do status matches. But let's set that aside for a moment. You used to be able to get Caesars Diamond status from Founders Card. You used to be able to get Caesars Diamond status from Wyndham. If you had Wyndham Diamond, it matched to Caesar's Diamond. They did away with that. They did away with Founders Card. Then what they came up with were these 10 times multipliers. So basically you get 15,000 points for diamonds. So you didn't have to do 15,000 tier credits. If you do 1,000 tier credits, you're going to get 10,000. So you can do the math there with the daily bonus. So you had to do significantly less than 15,000 credits to get it. And then Caesars finally came out with a credit card which allows you to spend to get diamond status. So what's interesting is it all makes sense now. They got rid of the founders card, they got rid of the Wyndham, they scaled back matching, and basically they went gung-ho with either you can do 10 times tier multiplier, 5 times tier multiplier, or you can get a Caesars credit card and spend and get tier points for that. And maybe you wouldn't do the full. I think the full amount to get diamond is like 50,000 in spend per year. So it's interesting. They took a totally different path, and the final connection was the Caesars credit card, which would allow you to spend to earn diamond status. So that was sort of interesting where they went with there, because I know a lot of people were disappointed when they could no longer get diamond status through the Wyndham, the Wyndham status matching by having the Wyndham credit card that gave you status, which allowed you to match, or via Founders Card, which was there for years and years and years. And it was always rumored every year, will Founders Card renew with Caesars? So interesting stuff. And who knows, maybe it'll come back at some other point. But I thought that was interesting. I don't know about you, Movestro, but I thought it sort of makes sense what they did. They made the paths like earn it the old fashioned way, earn it with the multipliers, or get our credit card. And that's the story with that. Sort of neat. And then the final thing for today, because we always love to talk about one hotel. Do you know what that is, Movestra? I don't know. I didn't hear you.
Would it be Win?
It would be Win.
Wow.
That's right.
I'm shocked.
So that's yeah. I'm titling this little mini segment, Win is out and Fontainebleau is in. So a very wonderful person who contributes a lot to the Facebook group, did a Facebook group post today about a Win heads up, and it goes like this: Win Labor Day heads up. Due to numerous conventions and the upcoming holiday weekend, Win is booked solid. First time I've ever had to wait for a room while they had plenty of front desk staff. Housekeeping is quite short staffed, so rooms are not turning over quickly. If you request non-feather bedding, slippers, etc., be prepared to wait. I know Movestro always requests slippers because he's a slippers guy. And this seems to be the current issue with many Vegas properties, so I advise online check-in when possible. Other than that, Win is wonderful and accommodating, though a lot of marketed, not hosted players are seeing diminished offers despite maintaining the same level of play. I'll raise my hand. That's me too. And it was interesting. And she went on to say that she's surprised at how many decent players who know what they're doing and protect their THEO. Oh, how funny coincidence. We were talking about that. Experiencing similar issues with reduced offers. Win seems flush with non-gambling conventioneers, so they don't think they need to pursue mid-level gamblers. Meanwhile, Fontainebleau has picked up the old Win model and lots of ex-employees. I didn't know that. They are actively pursuing players and not charging resort fees for comp rooms. So that is super interesting. I don't know if I would necessarily say it's non-gambling conventioneers. I mean, I think Win's just doing well. I mean, in what's been a difficult year, Win's really held their own on the gaming side, on the hotel, on hotel occupancy, I think restaurants and everything. And they just don't have to be that generous. At least that's my opinion on that kind of thing. What do you think, Movestro? Do you think it's just that Win's doing well and they just don't have to be as generous? I don't think it's necessarily. I think it's like doing well in the overall scheme, not necessarily one category. But I could be wrong about that.
It's possible. I mean, but the fact that they're doing quite well. They're booked solid, right? So they're doing all right. I don't think Win is feeling it as badly as a lot of the properties are. As far as Win being out and Fontainebleau being in, if that's what that that viewer or wants to do, I mean, everyone has their own thing. But if that works better for him, depending on the kind of gambling he does, I don't see why not. But
well, the other thing is, it's a she, by the way. But the other thing about that is a way to optimize casino loyalty, right? If you're at a property that is not, if you're at a property that's providing you less and less benefits and comps and offers based on the same play, and you can find another property, Fontainebleau or Venetian Palazzo, I've been hearing amazing things about over the past, it's like a year now. Maybe that's one way to optimize it, is move to the property where the same amount of action is going to get you more benefit, more comp rooms, more lights. That's how you optimize it. And we've said this before, don't get married to a property. Now, of course, that's a little bit hard for me personally.
Right.
But I guess that's how you value. It becomes down to, what do you value most? For me, I really want my couple of trips a year to win. I value that very highly. I put a high price tag on that. But there have been other points in my life what I valued most highly were more comp rooms, more visits, more free play, more resort credit. So I think it depends there's no right answer. So I'm over. So what I'm doing is I'm not really optimizing, because I'm still sticking pretty strong with Win, where I know I could do better with comps at Fontainebleau and Venetian Palazzo, but I am emotionally attached to Win. I like that I value that. So I'm making that choice. And I would say I'm not making the most optimized, smart decision when it comes to loyalty, but that's what makes me happy. And that's what I'm doing. So like I've often said, just understand, I mean, maybe part of it is understand what you're doing. You know, I wouldn't say I'm married to Wynn, but I feel more married to Wynn. And I'm going there for Labor Day weekend. I'm going to a Wynn property. So that's super exciting. And it's comp. So that's also great. So I don't know. I guess, you know, we all have to make there's multiple things that impact our choices. How about you, Movestro? What do you agree or disagree with the getting emotionally attached kind of to a property and sometimes choosing that, hey, I'll accept less? I mean, I think also that changes in time, like as you get older, what your priorities are. I think there are a lot of factors with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, you have to, it's a game, right? So you have to, do where you're going to get the most rewards. I mean, that's the best way to optimize. I just, I'm a bit surprised, Mr. Traeger. We have not discussed this, and I'm just noticing this now. What is with the YouTube clack bar and the YouTube thingy over there in the background by that lovely lady? When did this happen, bro? When did this happen?
They sent me it from the YouTube partner perks. They told us to tag them if we put it in the video. We should do that.
Wow.
They gave us a freebie for YouTube partner for YouTube stuff. Yeah. Isn't the board cute?
It is. It's very much. Is that because we've reached 1,000 subscribers recently?
I don't know. I think it was something to do with like you've been invited to the YouTube partner program. And
Yeah.
they're like, don't forget to tag YouTube creators and hashtag YouTube partner perks so we can check it out too.
Yeah, that only happens when we get 1,000 subscribers. That's why it suddenly showed up. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool.
You scored a limited edition YouTube clapperboard made just for valued partners like you and Movestro. It's a special thing. Yeah, it was cute. So I decided to put it. I'm glad you know. I was like, what are you looking at? Yeah. So that was sort of cute. So make sure we tag YouTube creators so that they can see our clapper board.
All right. Before we get going, is there anything on your mind or anything you'd like to share?
No. I think we shared quite a bit. So you think I should give up on Win though? Huh? What do you think? You think I should? You see, I just don't. Don't want to bother in some way.
You could still stay at Win, and then maybe just mosey on over to Venetian Palazzo. I think they have glasses. They have glassware. I think. I could be wrong.
No,
but
I know. I have a couple of friends who are trying to convince me to go over to Venetian Palazzo.
I bet I know who those friends are.
Yeah, they're a little. But you know what? I'm still getting. You know what? As long as I'm still getting my comps at Win at what I consider to be an acceptable level, that's fine. I'm not looking to do more trips, so I guess I'm just gonna have to see how it goes. But it's true, things are not. You know, there was a little while for Win where the offer started to get better. And I was like, wow, they're getting better. And now it's like totally shifted the other way. And I agree with our wonderful Facebook group friend that the offers are down for everybody. It's just, yeah, it's sort of like, you know, we're Win and this is what you get. And it's just the way it is. And also remember the other thing is too, you only have the one property, which is large, but it's still smaller than Venetian Palazzo. And I guess, well, Fontainebleau's one property, but that's why, you know, MGM is really quite generous. I still think I think MGM Rewards is probably the best program overall in the city for numerous reasons. So I guess we shall see. Who knows? I might do something different next year. I might just change my mind in January and say, Movestro, that's it. I'm trying Fontainebleau this year, and that's going to be it. And we'll just have to see.
Wow. You wouldn't last 2 trips. I think you'd be back at Win.
Wow. We should set up a betting line under over on me leaving Win.
We totally should do that. We absolutely should do that.
Okay, we'll see.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode. Luxury travel booking, travelzork.travel. Visit travelzork.travel to plan your next amazing vacation, not just to Las Vegas, but anywhere in the world. And please join the conversation on social media. You can find us easily. All social platforms are at TravelZork. We'll see you next time.